Welcome everybody to another episode of Be Fearless podcast. And I know, I took a freaking long break, but I needed it. I needed to take that break. Thank you so much for your continued support, despite me taking a long summer break. But now it's fall and we are back. And I bring you today an amazing guest. But before I introduce you to her, let me give a shout out to Canada, Italy, and Nicaragua for picking up the Be Fearless podcast this month. And I am so excited. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for supporting my content, for liking it, for loving it, for replaying over and over again. It is my pleasure to bring you the content that makes you to definitely unlock your potential and be fearless. So today I bring you professional dancer and choreographer to adjunct dance professor teaching her students how to build sustainable careers, to full-time career coach turned career program executive for ed tech organizations, Career Steward founder. She has mastered the art of building a career on her own terms. Now she is a career strategist and storyteller who works in twofold. She consults for social impact nonprofits, helping them produce content to tell their stories and help creative replace their jobs through their own consulting or independent contract work. If you're ready to ditch the traditional 9 to 5, she can help you build a career on your own terms. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the one, the only, Shaté Hayes.
Thank you so much, Dagmar. I'm so excited to be here. And also, round of applause for you and Be Fearless for making to 24 countries. Like, yeah.
I know. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been so exciting. Let me tell you, Shaté, because I've been working so hard on this podcast. This is our 4th year
Nice.
that we being live, and I have had so many, the opportunity to meet so many amazing people like you
Mhm.
that are out there helping people become a better version of themselves, and just like
Mhm.
bringing this content and knowing that people love it and like it, and it helps them to become, that to realize to kind of like materialize all the goals. That for me is
Yeah.
everything. And this year we so
Mhm.
far have reached 24 countries. Last year we did 34. Let's see, I'm hoping that we
Yeah.
can break our goal for this year. So Shaté, welcome to Be Fearless podcast.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
where are you today?
I am in the Atlanta area, Atlanta, Georgia, in the States.
Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
Atlanta. I have a couple friends in Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Chote, let me
Mhm.
ask you,
Mhm.
because we all need to know, who was Chote Hayes growing up and what was her dream?
You just cut right to the chase, right?
Yes.
So, who was she? I'll say that she was playful and fun-loving, energetic, loved family. There's definitely like an innocence about her, joy about her. But I honestly didn't want to be a certain thing when I grew up. I don't recall ever being like, "Ooh, I see this job and I want to do that." What I really wanted to be most was like my mom. And it's funny because now I'm a little bit too much like her, but I just remember thinking like she's just always been my shero. And I remember even being a young age and sort of looking up to her, like height wise and everything, like, oh, she's this career woman. I felt like she could do everything, she could do anything. Just, yeah, that was the only sort of career model I feel like I had. But I wasn't able to name a specific job at a young age.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I love when I listen to story like yours, like, oh, I didn't know what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
but then you become this amazing person, and you're doing so many great things. Tell us how, because you're a dancer before becoming a coach,
Mhm.
you were a dancer and a choreographer.
Yeah.
How you started?
So I've been dancing my whole life. And here's another thing about me as a child. I was super, super clumsy. And so I was like always running into things, bumping into walls, falling, like hurting myself. And so my parents put me into dance classes to try to get me more grace. So maybe around the age of 3, 4, I started dancing and really, really loved it. And my mom says that like the instructors would say, like, oh, she has a lot of potential. And my mother kind of just blew it off like, oh, they probably say that to everybody so they can keep them as like paying clients and students. But I kept going and I literally love dance and I just kept getting better and better. And just so I was always, always performing throughout my life. So when I say that I was a child who was just joyful and playful and followed my bliss, that's what kind of like dance was for me. It was just always a joy in it. So I just kept doing it. And I never thought it could be a career until one day it was. And so,
Thank God.
yeah, yeah.
So how was that moment when you turned this passion into a career? Um, and what was like the driving force for you on that moment?
Yeah, so I had performed my whole life, right? And so different versions of performance. Dance, I was in competitive dance as a young age. I cheered in high school, did drill team in high school. Like I was just always performing. My mom was trying to expose me to more professional dance opportunities as a child, and I was never interested. Like, I didn't wanna go to the performing arts high school, I didn't wanna do any of those. I wanted a normal, quote, unquote, "high school experience," and so to her, I guess that meant, like, I wasn't serious about it. So when I got to college, she was like, "Don't major in dance, choose something else." And in her defense, I didn't need a dance career to be a I mean, I didn't need a dance degree to be a dancer, a professional dancer, but I still just always loved performance. And then also in my defense, I didn't know I could have the kind of career that I did because I didn't have cable. I didn't grow up seeing music videos. I didn't know that there was such a thing as a commercial dancer. So I went to school, majored in psychology, which I really loved. Love people. I love research. I love making something from research. But I was on the pre-med track, and that part I didn't like. I didn't necessarily wanna be doing that. It was, an oppressive job. People would kinda light up like, "Ooh, you're gonna be a doctor," like that kinda thing. But it didn't bring me any kind of joy. So after I finished school, I was studying for, the MCAT to go to medical school to see if I can get a higher score, and I just hated it. It was just like sucking the life out of me, and I remember saying at that moment, if I have to work 8, 9 hours a day, I do not wanna spend my life feeling like this. So,
Yeah,
I'm not I'm not doing this. I wanna find something where I feel good about what I'm doing, and that's such a departure from what I grew up being taught because we're taught, like, you go to college and you get a job, and, like,
yeah.
that's it. That's the
That
American dream, right?
Yeah, that's
But
what we're sold, right? That we have to go get a degree. Once you have that piece of paper, you may go and get another one on top of that
yeah,
because that's gonna bring you the big money or the big
yeah.
bucks. But the truth is that it definitely sucks the life out of you.
It does, yeah, and so finally I was like, "I'm not doing this. What do I wanna do?" And I remember thinking, oh, so clearly, I'm a performer, I'm gonna be a performer, I'm gonna move to Los Angeles, and I'm gonna, be a dancer. And my family was like, "You're doing what? You're doing excuse me? I beg your pardon?" But I that's exactly what I did, and the rest is history.
Awesome. So how will you end up being like a career program executive for EdTechs?
Yeah. So, my dance career was about 12 years, maybe a little bit more. And I went and got a master's in dance, and I was a dance educator. During that time in grad school, like, so just like dance chose me, I feel like career work chose me as well. When I was in grad school and I had already had a career probably for about 7 or 8 years before I got there, I was in the grad student office, and there was a course for undergrads called career resources, like to try to help them learn how to build careers. And it was starting in 5 minutes. And the department chair came in and said, "Hey, we need a teacher's assistant for this course. It starts in 5 minutes. Can you do it?" And I was like, "Sure, why not? I can use the extra dough and, I'm here, might as well." And I absolutely fell in love with it. To be able to tell them all the things I wish I had known when I was starting my career, because I had to figure it out on my own. I didn't have any sort of maps or guides or anything. So to be able to share that with them, it was so fulfilling in a new way. And then they just kept coming back for like more questions and more questions. Oh, can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? And it just sort of like grew from there. I built the workingdancer.com and I started writing for Point Magazine and Dance Magazine and all of these different outlets for career building in the art space. So by the time I started to feel like I was evolving past a dance career, this career piece was already like there for me.
That's amazing. Now, how after going through, becoming the career program executive for them, how then you switch to become a career strategist and coach? Like what things do you do to make that switch?
That's a good question. So that body of work in my corporate career, I was helping people grow and change their careers. And so that was what I loved doing the most, really just being able to help someone understand who they were and to move towards a more fulfilling career. And so what I didn't really like about that work at the time was that it felt like so much emphasis was placed on the employer, like who has the job and let's just try to fit anyone into whatever job they have. I was always more concerned about the person. Like, what if they don't like that job? Is it aligned with who they are? What if they want to be doing something else? And so when I left my corporate career, I've made it my mission to really help people figure out what's in alignment with who they are, what they want to do most. And so that strategy part is that, a lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. I know it's something, but what is it? So I can help them sort of put those pieces together, the puzzle pieces, and figure out what is the next step for them that might give them the most joy and fulfillment.
I love that. I love that because you focus on not creating like a can program. You
Mm-hmm.
tailor your program towards your client's needs. And I think
Right.
that we need more of that in the industry. Now, tell me what is like your number one program and what your clients have taken out of it. Like how has been that experience?
That's a really good question. I would say the thing that people come to me most for is to help them, especially creatives, since I was creative first. They want to replace their 9 to 5, so they're in some job, maybe it was fine for a while, maybe they always hated it, and now they wanna, like, work on their own terms, and that means it could look like a whole like, slew of things. Maybe that's freelancing, maybe it's consulting, maybe it's, like, a combination of the 2, maybe they just wanna work fewer hours 9 to 5 and, like, do the majority of it like their own thing, and so that's what I help them to do, and it's 3 specific ways that I help them do that. I help them make sure that whatever they're working towards, they have alignment in it, so I call it their career match. I
Mhm.
help them upgrade their story, so, like, what are they telling to the marketplace? How are they presenting themselves? And then I help them, like, find the strategy to connect with the people who they wanna be serving, and so that they can have this body of work that is fulfilling to them and they're doing it, like, on their own terms.
I love that.
Mhm.
What for how long have you been doing this now?
So on my own this year, so 2024,
What
but I've been
total?
working
Yeah,
career
like total.
space,
Yeah.
I would definitely say about a decade now, maybe a little bit
Okay.
more.
So
Yeah.
in this 10 years, which has been like the most common obstacle you have seen your clients find
Mm.
on the way of improving their lives?
Yeah, it's us. It's our mind trash, our limiting beliefs. It's it's the not giving ourselves permission to go after the thing we actually want most. It's, not thinking that we're qualified enough. There's a not enoughness. Maybe I don't have enough experience. I don't have the right degree. I don't have the right background. I don't have the right insert whatever the thing is here. Are they gonna what if they ask me to do something I don't think I can do? Like what if I fail? What if, right? It's all of that stuff. Or I came from a toxic work environment and my confidence is shattered. And what if the next people are gonna do the same thing? What if people won't buy from me? What if I can't pay my bills and I'm gonna be kicked out on the street? Like all of these
Yeah,
fears.
fear insecurities. Yes, I totally get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And wow, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Now, what would you tell the audience today of what they can start doing today in order to move
Mhm.
forward towards their goal?
Mm. if their goal is to have a more fulfilling career, which I hope it is, that's why I'm here. I'm just spreading the message that everybody should have a career that lights them up. I would say the first step is to do some inner reflection. I think a mistake that a lot of people do make when they are doing a career transition or change of any kind is that they start looking outwardly. Like they're like, oh, what jobs make a lot of money? What sounds good? What is somebody else doing? And that is a recipe for like jumping into another situation that you're not going to like also. So
Mhm.
it's so important to do that inner reflection, to have the self-awareness around, okay, what are my strengths? What do I like? What do I not like about where I am? What do I feel like I want to do more of? What are the causes that are important to me? Like, like really understand who you are as a professional and what you have to offer the world, and then start having conversations around that, and so see what sort of emerges from that, and yeah, go from there, but definitely always, always, always start from the inside.
I love that. Start from the inside. I
Hmm.
totally agree. I
Hmm.
totally agree with that. Now, let's talk about your program.
Okay.
What is the biggest hit?
The biggest hit.
Yeah, like the most popular program that you offer.
So I only offer the one, and that
Oh,
is
that's that one. Okay.
that's it. Like if
That's
you want
it.
to build your career on your own terms, like that's what it is. I do, like I said, like you said in my intro, I do work with small organizations like social impact nonprofits, helping them tell
Mhm.
their stories, and so that is like the different kind of work with organizations and not individuals. But for individuals, it's the one thing. It's the what do you
It's
want
that
to
one thing.
do? Uh-huh. Yeah.
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 Now, moving on, that was the last topic. Moving on to your work with organizations, how you started with that, and how would you say is what have changed, or what changes you have seen this organization make after working with you?
Yeah, I mean, the how you started question is really good because I don't think anyone's asked me that before. So I really like questions that I haven't answered before. The content piece, before people were calling it content, years and years ago, I was always doing it. It was a part of it came about as being a professional dancer, not being able to afford to get someone to make a reel for me, for example, a highlight reel. So having to figure out like, okay, let me get a camera, like what can I edit? It was like awful editing software like Microsoft Windows Movie Maker or something like that.
Don't remind me that.
Just like really, really bad stuff. But then I also just always had a tendency to want to tell stories in different ways. So
Mhm.
either my movie makers things or like I'm writing or things like that. So even in the work that I was doing as a dancer, like I said, I built the workingdancer.com with blogs and podcasts and all types of content to help creatives build sustainable careers. And then in my corporate career, leading programs teams, so much of that work was like content. Again, how are we building resources for people to build their careers and sharing those out? So when I was transitioning, one of the ways that I was able to leave my 9 to 5, have my exit strategy, which is the thing that I teach, creatives, is that I had this contract lined up with an organization that said, hey, we're trying to tell these stories. We don't have the capacity to tell them. We might not even have the storytelling eye in order to tell them well. And it was just like a really perfect fit because they are doing work that was important to me, increasing access to education or equity in education, rather. And I was able to really go in and say, okay, tell me what you're trying to say and who are you trying to say it to? And let's figure out the ways you want to tell that story. And I love that so much because I think the through line for me and all of the work that I've done across all of my varied careers is storytelling. Even as a dancer, I did so much choreography for theater. I love theater because of those stories that we get to tell and the movement and how that enhances the story. So
Mhm.
I'm just always finding new ways to help people like tell their stories. And I really, really deeply love that work.
Oh my God, I love that. I
Hmm.
love that. In storytelling, it's such a powerful tool. And I think
Hmm.
it's something that is it like it's part of the human being. Like we
It is.
always stand telling a story. Even in
Hmm.
our day-to-day, we always in a conversation, we always find ourselves telling a story,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, I mean, just bringing that skill or that, trait of the human
Hmm.
into everything else that we do. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so entertaining and it's also so fulfilling
Yeah.
also. So thank you so much for doing it.
No problem. I
Thank
mean
you
I
so
mean, it's a
much.
pleasure. I count it a pleasure. And you're right, it's how, like, our cultures survive. It's stories are passed down generation to
Exactly.
generation, like, it's such a huge part of humanity. It
Yeah.
sets us apart from other beings, right? So, it's so important.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Shaté. Definitely, you have so much to give to our community and to everybody into the world. So
Thank
I
you.
I am so honored to have you today here in the Be Fearless podcast. And I definitely want to put the spotlight now into you. So where people can reach out to you for business.
Yeah. So if you find yourself in a position where you're like trying to figure out what's next for you and you resonate with what we've said in terms of, I don't know what it is, or maybe I'm having some mindset trash, or I want to figure out how to get out of my 9 to 5, I got a couple of resources that I'd love to give away. And one is 40 sources for contract work to kind of help you do some research. And the other one is like, how do you start doing that self assessment that we were talking about before so that you can find something that lights you up from the inside out? And you can find those and connect with me at lightmycareermatch.com. So once you grab those resources from there, you'll be connected to me. And then my website here, as you see, is careersteward.co with, blog posts, access to those resources as well.
Awesome. Is there any like social media related to your business?
Yeah, we're on Instagram and LinkedIn at Career Steward and Facebook. Yes.
And you also, and whoever wants to follow you, like in a personal level, where they can connect with you.
I'm on Instagram at I am Shaté, and then I'm also on LinkedIn as well. Yeah. So you
I
did,
love
yeah.
it. Oh my God, Shante, you've been such a treat. I love interviewing you and getting to know you. I hope the
Thank you.
audience have enjoyed hearing your story and if they can reach out to you, if they need a transition. I love that we connected because I'm currently in the middle of transition.
Oh, we
And
should talk
yes,
more.
yes, we definitely need to talk more.
Yeah.
No, but I'm in the middle of a transition. I started it back in 2020,
Mhm.
and I've been slowly but steadily working on it
Mhm.
because I have 2 more years to go.
Okay.
So, everything that I'm doing, a lot of people sometimes tell me, Dagmar, but I'm confused. You're doing this, you're doing that. I'm like, I'm in the middle of transition. And transitions, you have to plan for it, work
Yep.
for it,
Yep.
having like a little schedule,
Mhm. Mhm.
pace yourself. Um, especially when you're doing it like at a long term like
Yeah.
me, um because in my case is more of the timing piece of
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
I know that I can go full throttle in 2 years, but I don't want
Mhm.
to reach those 2 years and then having, to be running around like a crazy woman
Yeah.
trying to make everything happen when I could have started it years before.
Yeah.
So because I want to be that transition to be smooth for me to
Mhm.
close that door in order to move forward, you know, with calm ease and grace and just like happiness in front of me. I definitely started it 4 years ago.
Mm.
So I love that you help people transition,
Mhm.
creating, that working with oh my God, I cannot even speak today. Working with that process, and
Mhm.
I just want to say thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for doing
Dagmar. I
that.
mean I mean, and kudos to you for wanting to for one, giving yourself permission to pivot, to transition, and then two, thinking strategically about it. Because I think that's one thing a lot of people sort of kind of skip over and you just want to go from, the one place that you were to the next place. And like there's a whole middle ground in transition that, the more strategic you are, the more seamless the transition is. So like good job And yeah, I've loved this conversation. It's been such a
I
treat.
love it. Well, thank you so much for your time and for being with us today. I hope that everybody enjoy your story, and I hope that everybody connects with you. And like I said, you can connect with her. You said that there's an assessment on your website, right?
It is the easiest place to go is lightmycareermatch.com.
Okay, mycareermatch.com. So connect with her.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you follow Shaté.
Mm-hmm.
You connecting with her. I'm gonna leave all the links above for you to do it. And in the meantime, don't forget to unlock your potential and be fearless. Until the next one. Thank you, Shaté.
Thank you.